Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, hi, my name is Dana. I upload a new video every single Sunday, so if you haven't subscribed to me yet, now is a great time to do so to stay on top of all of my new videos. In 2019, I wrote my very first ebook called The Basics of Tea. I meant for it to be a really good starting point for if you're kind of just getting into tea and you don't really know where to start. I really just wanted to compile some information so you can start going into tea stores with confidence and just feel like you know a little bit and you can confidently start enjoying tea. I've decided to do a little series of videos to kind of supplement and correspond with my book. So in the book, I walk through each individual tea type and talk about what makes it special, why it's unique, how it's processed, how it's grown, just all the basics. So I've decided to do a series where I walk through the tea types in the same way and sort of a video version to go along with the book. So if you do own the book and want to kind of follow along in it, you have all the information like written down so you can kind of refer back to it. Otherwise, if you don't have the book, it'll always be linked down below if you're interested, but you can still get a lot out of these videos even if you don't have the book. Today, I'm really excited because I'm doing my favorite tea type, which is green tea. Green tea is the second most popular beverage consumed worldwide, second only to water. It's grown and processed mainly in China and Japan. So I'm gonna go through each of the steps that they go through to like make the tea, so growing it and everything like that. And then I'll kind of split off into the different ways that China does it and different ways that Japan does it. So if you're completely new to tea, it's worth mentioning that all tea leaves come from the same plant. It's the Camellia sinensis plant. So every kind of tea, white, green, oolong, black, pour, all of those come from the Camellia sinensis plant. So anytime you're drinking tea, you are drinking Camellia sinensis. So anything that isn't Camellia sinensis is technically not considered real tea, but we call it tea still because we steep it and consume it in the same way as we do with tea leaves. So for our intents and purposes, chamomile, rooibos, mate, those are all still tea in our hearts, but if it doesn't come from Camellia sinensis leaves, it's technically not tea. So green tea comes from the Camellia sinensis plant, just like all of the other teas, but this particular kind of tea is grown in mostly China and Japan. I'm gonna be making a Japanese sencha green tea today, but we're also gonna talk about the Chinese kind. So let's get our tea steeping. There is definitely a risk of over steeping with green tea. So we want to steep it just 3 to 4 minutes. We don't want to go any longer than that. And also we want to use a cool water temperature. So I'm going to use this glass mug so we can get a nice look at the color of the tea. And the metal basket infuser is my favorite way to make tea. I have some water that is right around 175 degrees, which is the ideal temperature for a green tea. So let's go ahead and get it steeping. In about 3 minutes, we are good to remove our infuser. So we'll set this aside just for a couple of minutes. So how green tea is processed. Like I said, it varies between Chinese green tea and Japanese green tea. And there are other variations as well, but for our purposes today, for the good old basics, we're gonna stick with just general between Chinese and Japanese green tea. In Japan, the tea plants, as they're growing them, they're purposely shaded. So they put like a tarp or some kind of shade over the tea plants, and that helps them achieve a more vibrant green color and a fuller, grassier flavor. And in China, they don't really do that. The tea leaves aren't as bright and vibrant in color, and they have a bit of a different flavor. Next step in the process of making green tea is withering. Withering basically means drying out. They're getting the moisture out of the tea leaves. Green tea is left to wither and dry out for only a few hours so that the tea leaves can maintain that beautiful green color and keep all of those antioxidants in. All right, before we go on to the next step, we are ready to remove the infuser for our Japanese sencha. And then we'll come back to it and look at the color and the tasting notes and the smell and everything. So step 3 for the green tea leaves is to heat them. When you heat them, it stops the oxidization. So now that they're like perfectly lightly withered and still green, they're going to heat them. In China, the tea leaves are heated over like a big wok pan. So they end up with like a roastier flavor and a flat shape. I have this tea from Plum Deluxe. It's a citrus mint green tea, and this has Chinese green tea in it. So I thought I would pull out just a tea leaf so I can show you how they look. They're heated in like a giant wok pan, and they're kind of like flattened against the pan. So as you can see, they're like long and flat. That stops all the oxidization and dries out the leaves as well. Now in Japan, they do it a little differently. They steam the tea leaves. So instead of like being flattened against a pan and getting really nice and roasty and heated up, they lay them out and they steam it. So steaming the tea leaves preserves all of the flavor and the color of the green tea. So Japanese green teas have a really beautiful, vibrant green color and like a more vegetal, oceanic flavor, because they are grown near the ocean. Japan is an island, so they're grown near the ocean, but usually they're like green, vegetal, little grassy. Like if you think of Japanese foods versus Chinese foods, Japan has a lot of like more light steamed sort of flavors and cooking techniques going on, whereas in China, it's a lot more like cooked over a pan. So you can kind of think of their green teas the same way, where Japan is steamed and like lighter and greener. Chinese green teas have like a nutty, roasty, smooth kind of flavor. But either way, green tea has the highest concentration of antioxidants of all the tea types. And they all contain, for the most part, a medium level of caffeine. So not too high, but there is a little bit of something to get you going. So to make our green tea today, we steeped it for 3 minutes in 175-degree water. If you steep green tea in water that's too hot, it's gonna burn the tea leaves because they are pretty delicate. They're not as delicate and temperamental as white tea leaves, but there still is room for error. And similar to white tea, you don't want to steep them any longer than 4 minutes, because if you do, they'll get over steeped, which makes them bitter, and it's not anything like what it was meant to be. So a lot of people think tea has a bitter taste, or they think they don't like green tea, and that could be because they've only ever had green tea over steeped and they don't really know the true amazing flavor it has. Another thing I absolutely love about green tea is that beautiful color. It's like a greenish gold, like it's just so pretty. So this is a little tin of Japanese green tea that my husband's stepmom gave to me. And it's just a straight Japanese sencha tea. So here's how it looks all spread out. As you can see, it has that beautiful, vibrant green color. And it has the smell, like just the perfect smell that a Japanese green tea should have. I sort of get almost like a salty oceanic vibe, but also like that grassiness. It's just so wonderful. I have a Japanese sencha from David's Tea as well, so I thought it might be kind of cool to compare side by side. Wow, they look actually really similar to me, but it looks like there are some bigger pieces in the one that I got from my family as opposed to the one that came through David's Tea. Ooh, this is interesting, but I also get a much stronger smell from this tea than from the David's Tea. The aroma comes through much stronger and more powerful. And that could just be attributed to the freshness of the tea and not anything against David's Tea's sourcing. Like honestly, for all I know, it could have been tea that comes from the exact same like tea farm and I would never know. The only difference could be that the David's Tea one might not be as fresh, because I have had this longer, but they're both in completely airtight metal tin containers. But from personal experience, I do know that David's Tea stores their tea in the stores. Like once it's out of the airtight bag that it comes from the source in, they put it into those big metal containers and they're opened every time somebody buys some. So it might have lost some of the potency there because it's being exposed to light and air every time they open the container. But as far as the way it looks, I'd say it looks very similar. There are a couple like smaller tea leaves than what I have in this little tin from Japan, but I'd say as far as like color, it's pretty spot on. They look pretty much the same to me. But anyway, getting back to our beautiful cup of Japanese green tea, let's go ahead and give it a taste. I didn't oversteep it, it's perfect. There's just something so special about drinking a straight tea. In my day-to-day life, I drink a lot of green tea blends. Like I love green tea that's paired with things like ginger because green tea has such a wonderful, clean taste to it that like paired with things like ginger or lemongrass, it just gives such a nice like clean feeling. Like I love waking up in the morning and like the first thing I do is start my kettle and get some kind of green tea steeping. But I always do a blend. I never really on a daily basis go for a straight tea. So it's been like such a nice experience so far filming these videos because I've had my straight white tea and now I'm having this, and it's just such a special experience to really taste the tea leaf and to really like take my time and drink it mindfully and see like the different notes that I notice, and to just get really in depth about straight teas, I feel like is really special. Yeah, I've just been really enjoying it. So it has that, it's grassy, like it does have that like green vegetal quality, but also it's really nice and smooth. Like nothing, there's no like bite to it or anything. Like it's a smooth, grassy sort of thing. Green tea is my absolute favorite. Just a straight green tea, like just, it's so wonderful. But if you are interested in getting into green tea blends, there is so many ways they can go with them. Personally, what I like is I like sort of clean, more like savory, like herby ingredients, I guess. Like I like things like ginger, lemongrass, mint is awesome in a green tea. One of my very favorite types of green tea is called genmaicha, and it's a traditional Japanese green tea, and it has popped rice in it and roasted rice. So it is super like, it has like the feel of a rice cake sort of flavor combined with like that green flavor of the tea leaves. I just absolutely love it. So my current favorite, I think this tea is my favorite tea of all time. Like I don't think I've ever had a tea I love as much as this. It's David's Tea's Ginger Turmeric Tonic, and it's a hybrid between a genmaicha because it has the green tea and popped rice, but then it has turmeric and ginger in it as well, and some apple pieces just to cut that spiciness and add a little bit of sweetness. But it's like, it's a spiced play on a genmaicha that I really enjoy. Another really special kind of traditional sort of green tea is jasmine scented green tea. Oh my gosh, when I first learned about jasmine scented teas when I worked at David's Tea, I just thought it was the most beautiful concept. In our training, they showed a picture of how they do it. Jasmine scented teas don't have like jasmine leaves or chunks of jasmine in it. They're just scented. So they lay out the tea leaves and they put the jasmine flowers on top of them. They're like together, and the scent of the jasmine flowers gets into the tea leaves, and it just looks like such a beautiful like way to make tea. So green teas are pretty versatile, so I feel like you could find almost any kind of blend. But another way I kind of see it go a lot is like sort of a tropical, like fruity iced tea sort of thing. Like a lot of blends with pineapple, mango, passion fruit, things like that. And then another thing is kind of playing into the fact that green teas have the highest level of antioxidants. I think it's really cool when you find blends that are combined with other superfoods, so acai, goji berries, things like that, to just really maximize the benefits. Like if you could get a cup of tea that's gonna have all kinds of superfoods, like I think that's a really cool way to go. Now I thought it would just be kind of cool to show you some of my favorite green tea blends that I have in my collection. And we can start with this one, Mama Bear Magic. This is from Tea by Daniel, who's an awesome tea company from Canada. But it's a green tea, and it has sencha makoto green tea, ginger, coriander, cinnamon, turmeric, pepper, cloves, and natural lime flavor. So this one is almost like a green chai sort of thing, but with the addition of lime, which is really cool. And then in the same vein of green chai, I have David's Tea's Kashmiri chai. Oh, it's so good. I love this one. I keep forgetting I have it. I have it in like my favorite tin. I always put like some of my favorites in this tin because I love it so much. And it has all the things that chai would have, but in a green tea base and with the addition of marigold flowers. So it has the cloves, cardamom, ginger, all in an awesome green tea base. So when I go for a chai, like when I really want just like a nice cozy cup of tea, a green chai is sort of what I think of, because I still want that green tea. Like I don't always really want the heaviness of a black tea. I like the light freshness of a green tea to like poke through those spices. So I really enjoy that kind of thing. I've already talked sort of about the citrus mint green tea. This was a tea I reviewed from Plum Deluxe pretty recently on my channel. And it has lemongrass, spearmint, orange peel, lemon essence, and love and gratitude, which is something Plum Deluxe always includes in their ingredients list, which is so precious. This one is another example of like a nice light clean green tea with those clean savory kind of flavors in it. This one is David's Tea's Lime Gelato. I'm not sure if this one has been discontinued or not, but it is like the lime, and it has like the lime flavor and the lemongrass. This one does have sort of a creamy, desserty twist to it, so I really like this. Another one that's sort of a similar vibe at David's Tea is Toasted Walnut. That's one of my favorite teas of all time as well. It's a green tea with walnut, and it just has this it's a really distinct desserty kind of flavor to it, and I love that. But green tea can go super desserty as well. I have this cocoa mint green tea from Adagio. This one has green tea, cocoa nibs, and natural chocolate mint flavor, as well as peppermint leaves. So this was one of my first favorite teas ever. Like when I was just starting to get into tea, this was kind of one of my go-tos. And then this is the dessertiest green tea I have. It's another chocolate mint one. It's called Mint Chip Sundae from David's Tea. And this one is like super decadent and creamy. So for me, it's honestly a bit much. There's like white chocolate, regular chocolate, mint, everything. So this one is a little bit too decadent for me, but I still really like it. Anyway, those are some of my favorites from my personal collection. Green tea is my favorite kind of tea, so this was really fun to kind of go through and really get to focus on my favorite tea type. Let me know in the comments what your favorite green tea is. Is it a straight green tea or is it a blend? For me, I just love that ginger turmeric tonic. I just can't get enough of it. And I love Genmaicha. Those are probably my favorite green teas I've ever had. But let me know what you guys like, or tell me some like unique green teas you've tried. For our next little like episode of this series, I'm gonna be talking all about matcha. So the green tea segment is not quite over yet because matcha deserves its own category. So that's what we're going to be looking at next, and I can't wait for that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed learning about green tea today. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.